Coming up on Focal Point, she found herself in the world spotlight a year ago. What is she doing today? It closed Michigan. Snow, cold, and ice breaks records and closes a university for only the 7th time in 150 years. A president resigns. MSU appoints its third in less than a year.
Do you recognize this building? You probably walk past it on your way to class every day, but now it's coming down. Find out what's going up.
Focal Point starts now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Rudolph Sinida.
And I'm Honda Carter.
February has been a month to remember, and we're not even done with it. We're talking Michigan weather. We've seen nearly 100-degree temperature swings from record lows to 50-degree days. The latest came in last night with wind gusts approaching 50 miles per hour, followed by a flash freeze in mid-Michigan. Freezing rain turned to snow overnight, and a winter weather advisory continues throughout the day.
But that's just today. The week began with this. Ice. The freezing rain and sleet covered roads and made driving hazardous, and it made walking just as bad. Businesses and courts stayed open in downtown Lansing, but it was a slippery and sloppy day. On the Michigan State campus, salt trucks and plows were out again. The university stayed open, but that was not the case last week.
And it all started last week with a storm bad by Michigan standards. Griffin Stroyne has the story of how historic wind chills shut down an entire state.
Average can be perfect, at least when it comes to the temperature.
I walked outside and I was like, oh, wow, it's actually like hot. I know it's not hot, but like to me it's hot.
We kind of joked, like me and my friends, that like it was like a whole 4 seasons in like 1 week.
50,000 students navigate Michigan State's campus every day, but this stopped them all in their tracks.
Michigan State usually stays open.
The snow and cold forced the university to close for just the 7th time in 150 years. But for Matt Bailey, this is when things feel right.
We monitor the weather quite closely. I came in with our snow supervisors here about 4 o'clock in the morning, just to make sure everything was looking good. He's head of MSU's snow removal team. Bailey also loves the snow a lot more than the average human being. This is what we love to do. This is what I love to do. I love snow removal. He is responsible for all 63 snow routes that make up MSU's campus. But more than just MSU was closed, it made front page news. The whole state was shut down as the weather went from bad to worse. The snow and cold came and went. Things are back to normal, whatever normal is in a Michigan winter. Bailey, he'll be ready for that next blast. For us, it's just another day. You know, this is a 6-inch snowfall. We live in Michigan. It's just another day on the job. In East Lansing, I'm Griffin Stroyne, Focal Point News.
Just a glimmer of hope for everybody. Major League Baseball spring training starts in 2 weeks. Granted, that will be down in the warmth of Florida and Arizona. The first day of spring is March 20th. She became a national figure. Judge Rosemarie Aquilina was pushed into the world spotlight as she handled the Larry Nassar sexual abuse sentencing. It's been 1 year. Has her life changed? Tony Black joins us live in the newsroom with a look into her life.
Well, Rude, it certainly has in many ways. From being named one of Glamour magazine's Women of the Year in 2018 to receiving cards and letters from people all over the world asking for her inspiration, she continues to do her job every day. It turns out Judge Aquilina is in an unlikely position that continues to help women heal.
If I had to define myself, it would truly be the definition of accidental hero.
Every day she works here, just a block away from the Capitol.
It still surprises me when people recognize me.
They probably wouldn't recognize her office, but down the hall, they most likely would recognize this office.
This is a motion to compel discovery.
It's been a year since Judge Rosemarie Aquilina said these words.
I've just signed your death warrant.
She was talking to Larry Nassar. Aquilina sentenced him to life in prison. It came after 156 survivors of his sexual assault stood in front of Nassar and the judge with heart-wrenching testimony.
Your priority should have been my health, yet your priority was solely to molest me.
I want to forgive you, but I also want to hear you tell me that you regret all the hurt you caused. Today, I will finally be free.
The world watched from this very courtroom.
I have been contacted by thousands of people from countries I didn't even know existed.
And now, standing in courtroom 5, Aquilina feels that since those 7 days a year ago, her life has changed.
There were people who contacted me who said, I was going to commit suicide, and then I sat down and watched those 7 days, and because of you, I know I matter.
This is what she does every day.
Council.
But there's an opening down the street at Michigan State.
That university, my university.
As president.
We have wasted a year. Let's get to it. Let's get real change, real safety, real training.
Could that someone be her? Would she even want the job?
I haven't seriously considered it. It's not on the table. Could I do it? Yes.
Back in her office,
People send me all sorts of things. Sign it and send it back.
people constantly remind her of the good she did.
And that happens quite a bit.
Her office, a chance to breathe and to look back on what it was like a year ago.
There was something special going on in the courtroom that was way beyond what usually happens in my courtroom. And I know that was God. Call it whatever you want. That's what I call it.
We want to thank Judge Molina for giving us access to her life. It was very interesting to see. She told me, Ruta, she's honored people want to hear from her through any challenges they face.
After being delayed a week due to the government shutdown, President Trump addressed the nation in his annual State of the Union speech Tuesday night.
Economic miracle is taking place in the United States, and the only thing that can stop it are foolish wars, politics, or ridiculous partisan investigations.
The Republican side of the chamber often erupted in cheers, and at least twice chants of USA filled the room. Besides talking about the Mueller investigation, President Trump addressed immigration. He stressed that the border wall will be built.
Across the country, the number of college-age students is dropping. Michigan is no exception. It all means lower enrollment for the state's universities. In fact, enrollment in Michigan's public universities decreased for the 7th consecutive year. Michigan's freshman enrollment was down in 2018, at least in half of the state's 15 public universities. Here at Michigan State, applications went down by 3,000. Undergraduate admissions also went down slightly, but overall, total enrollment increased by 300. That increase is primarily due to honor college students and graduate professionals.
2018 to 2028, the state is projecting about a 16,000 student loss in that high school age population.
Eastern Michigan had the biggest decrease in freshman enrollment, over 400 from the previous year. Wayne State performed the best with almost 400 more students.
Last month, 5 teenage girls were killed in an escape room in Poland. With several escape rooms in Lansing and a newly released psychological thriller about them in theaters, Focal Point's Alyssa Burr shows us how these escape rooms work and how customer safety is #1 priority.
Take a seat.
In a new movie hitting box offices, Escape Room is about 6 strangers finding themselves in a maze of deadly mystery rooms. Despite the frightening depiction in the film, escape rooms have become a popular trend here in Lansing. The owner of Challenges East Lansing, Quentin Leverage, says escape rooms have a different appeal to them than your typical weekend activity.
Out there, it allows people to be interactive with each other. It creates teamwork. It creates a sense of urgency, doing things. It allows you to use your brain a little bit. It's something that everybody can do.
While designed to evoke a sense of urgency by having players solve a series of puzzles in 60 minutes or less, it has some wondering if this urgency can be too overwhelming.
For people with stress disorders or mental health disorders that are related to stress and anxiety, what it might do is sort of trigger potential things that make them feel panic, right, and cause a panic attack.
Leverage says safety is something they take very seriously so that the players can enjoy their game.
We can see and hear everybody as they play the game. We have a control center where each game master individually watches those players play that one particular game so they're not deterred from anything else.
And these first-time players say the experience is well worth it.
It's a lot of fun.
In East Lansing, Alyssa Burr, Focal Point News.
You know, here's a fun fact. Escape rooms actually originated in Kyoto, Japan in 2007. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's a little spooky. It looks like a lot of fun, but I don't know if I'd be super down.
Absolutely. Coming up next, we're saying goodbye to the old and hello to new developments coming to East Lansing.
Plus, the 3rd new interim president at MSU in less than a year. Those stories when we come back. You probably walk past this East Lansing staple every day, but after 13 years, its doors are closing and something much, much bigger may be on its way. Wednesdays in East Lansing are a fun day for students. And you might find yourself at Dublin Square.
Wednesdays at Dublin are half off. People are always there.
And Dublin has been around for a while.
Like the basement, the plumbing, the bones, right? It's been here a long time. It ain't good.
What started out as a post office.
So this is from 1935.
Turned restaurant pantry, turned evergreen grill, turned Dublin Square may soon be something completely different.
So what we have are two buildings.
Two buildings with a proposed 800,000 square feet of everything from a movie theater to retail, market rate apartments, parking, and for sale condos, collectively called Park Place.
It's actually going to be cool. Like, the designs are cool.
And while the project still has to go through some approval steps with the city, the general manager Dan and Vlahakis companies think that East Lansing is long overdue for an upgrade.
Our town it's decayed and nobody's done anything about it.
We're probably the last or one of the last towns anchored by such a major institution to not be developed.
To make up for lost time, this mixed-use development plans to be extremely innovative and forward-thinking, including automated parking.
In the same area that we would be able to conventionally park 150 cars, we can park 615 cars.
So what are students thinking about these big plans?
I think that's really cool that Michigan State is revamping its vibe.
The students want a place to go that's cool and hip.
And where does that leave Dublin in all of this?
Dublin is coming back. Dublin will actually be at a mezzanine level, and then we'll have patio that wraps the building.
So enjoy your last Irish beef dip sandwich and half-off drinks on Wednesdays before the big project begins.
It's kind of sad, but at the same time, I'm excited for what's coming.
In East Lansing, Ruth Olsenaida, Focal Point News. Now, don't worry, the general manager, Dan, says that Dublin plans to stay open until graduation and will come back into the new building in about 18 to 24 months. One interim president is out, a new interim president is in.
That's right, and Black History Month at MSU kicks off with a festival at the Student Union. Alyssa Bird has those stories and more in our campus report.
MSU's interim president, John Engler, resigned last month after being asked by the Board of Trustees to step down. Engler filed the temporary spot after President Louanna K. Simon resigned. That happened after the Larry Nassar trial. Engler's presidency had its controversies. His handling of the Nassar case and perceived insensitive comments about the survivors all led to his resignation a day before the Board of Trustees were set to vote him out of office. With Engler gone, a new MSU president has been appointed. Focal Point's Tia Riddick introduces us to Satish Udpa.
This is where a president works. But the name has changed again for the third time in a year. Michigan State University has a new acting president.
Be it further resolved that Dr. Satish Udpa is hereby appointed acting president of Michigan State University.
Satish Udpa takes over. Interim President John Engler is out. He resigned last month after comments he made about survivors of the Larry Nassar sex abuse case.
We've been very vocally against John Engler being the interim president since the beginning.
Natalie Rogers, a student here, along with working for Reclaim MSU, an organization that helps hold the administration accountable.
And so we were happy that the board finally listened and finally came to their senses and got rid of him. And we're really excited about Satish being in the interim position.
Udpa has held admin positions here on campus before and is also the former College of Engineering dean. Udpa was elected by trustees based in part on faculty input. In a statement, new board member Kelly Tebay says, acting President Udpa brings a calm and steady hand that I think we need, and a commitment to better leadership from our administration. I believe he will set a strong foundation for our new president to come into. With the change in leadership here on campus, what do students, the main ones who make up this university, hope to get out of President Udpa?
I'd like to see a priority on the survivors, really. I felt like the last John Engler was not very compassionate enough and understanding enough.
I'm honestly hoping to see some respect for the student body, and I hope they start to listen to us.
MSU hasn't had a permanent president since Luana K. Simon resigned after the Larry Nassar scandal. In East Lansing, Tiara Riddick, Focal Point News. Satish Udpa will act as president until MSU finds a permanent president. Exactly 1 year after Larry Nassar sentencing, Luana K. Simon appeared in the same court for separate criminal charges. Luana Simon is facing 2 felony charges and 2 misdemeanor counts for lying to police officers. The felony charges stem from a Title IX complaint against Nassar that was filed in March 2014. Simon appeared as part of a preliminary examination to find out if there is enough evidence for a trial. Simon's next appearance is scheduled for April 8th. Black history runs deep, from Black entrepreneurs to Black art. A new event on campus last week featured all of that and more. To kick off Black History Month, the University Activity Board, along with the Black Student Alliance and the African American Student Mentoring Program, held Michigan State's first Black Empowerment Festival. The festival at the MSU Union featured different aspects of Black culture, like a hair tutorial, hustles, vision boards, and an open mic. President of AASMP, Jasmine Bradford, said this festival celebrates MSU's Black community.
I don't know, it brings us together even more, for one, and for two, that gives us more connections, and just celebrate who we are. I mean, for the month, we don't necessarily have something that we always do as a celebration, so want to make sure we had one that we can always have annually.
Coordinators say that next year they plan on having a bigger and better festival. Maybe by then, I'll be ready to join in on a few of those hustles. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Alyssa Burr. Honda, Ruta.
Thanks, Alyssa. Coming up next, ESPN College Game Day recently visited the Breslin for the Spartans game against the Hoosiers.
Yes, that was a ton of fun. Focal Point's Griffin Stroin joins us at the sports desk with a preview. Griffin?
Yeah, both men's and women's teams were in action earlier in the week. We'll have highlights and more coming up next in sports.
Students are crucial to WKAR's success. It's a great opportunity for the students to learn, and it's a great chance for us to teach students so that they're ready to go out into the real world. Students are the heartbeat of WKAR.
Backstage Pass has given me hands-on experience working with a team and working with the equipment.
Going to class, you learn all the stuff, but then being able to apply it while you're a student as well is really fantastic.
It's been awesome seeing a project go from just emails to a full production day where we have bands coming in. It's been awesome to see that bigger picture come to life.
I'm always excited when I get to work on live productions, especially Backstage Pass.
Having this knowledge at my disposal while I'm in college is really beneficial to what I want to do after I graduate.
It's extremely important to have students because it helps with the success of WKAR and public broadcast as a whole. The opportunities are endless for students here.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Griffin Stroin with this week's sports. Now, Michigan State men's basketball team has been going through a bit of a rough patch right now. They've lost 2 straight, but look to get back on track with a trip to Illinois. Now, let's jump right into things. MSU had been trailing the game all game by 14 points at some point, but here come the Spartans. Kenny Goins drills this 3 to make it a 2-point game, and then the very next possession, Illinois didn't learn their lesson. Goins finds himself open, nails this 3-pointer to put the Spartans up 1, but Illinois wasn't going to let this game slip. Freshman Ayo Tsumo hit a cold-blooded 3 right here, puts the game out of reach. The Spartans fall to the Illini 79-74. That makes 3 straight losses for Izzo's team.
Our turnovers caused us to be in a funk. I mean, you can't turn the ball over on junior high plays, and we did that.
We didn't do a very good job of taking care of the basketball. 20-plus turnovers is ridiculous, and we just didn't do the things we needed to do.
So after the loss, MSU dropped outside the AP Top 10 rankings for the first time this year. The Spartans will host Minnesota tomorrow. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. Now, it hasn't been all bad news for the men's team, though. ESPN's College Game Day came to East Lansing for the 5th time last weekend. Michael Apps was there to capture the madness that is College Game Day.
It's the middle of winter.
A little bit of ice last week.
A record storm just closed all of Michigan.
I couldn't feel my toes for about 45 minutes.
But what's a few hundred frozen toes for these fans standing outside the Breslin Center?
Yeah, we got here pretty early.
I'm willing to wait.
When inside, a national television show is about to go live.
Yeah, the students come out here, they're waiting in line for an hour, hour and a half sometimes, even longer.
On this particular game day, it doesn't really matter.
So excited.
These MSU basketball fans are ready for game day, but it's not just any game day, it's ESPN College Game Day, making one of its 8 stops here in East Lansing ahead of the big game tonight against Indiana. I'm pumped. I've always been watching College Game Day. It's a great time to be here.
The show airs Saturday mornings on ESPN ahead of the top game later in the day.
You know, getting a chance to travel around and see some of the most, prestigious places there are in the country as it relates to basketball.
And MSU fans jumped at the opportunity to be on a national TV show.
I'm really excited, actually. I'm really excited. I mean, I waited 2 hours before, so in the cold, now we're in the warm. I'm just happy to be here.
This place, to me, I remember last time we were here, my ears were ringing when I left.
The show ended at noon, and now fans have another wait. A 6-hour wait until the game.
Pretty excited. Got to get tickets to the game still, but hopefully pull through somehow.
In East Lansing, I'm Michael Epps, Focal Point News.
Yeah, so all those fans kind of waited 6 hours for a pretty disappointing outcome. How unfortunate. The women's basketball team has been unbeatable at home, but on the road, it's been a different story. They traveled to Iowa City last night to take on the Hawkeyes. Spartans lost 86-71. Nia Clouden led the Spartans in scoring, pouring in 20 points. Head coach Susie Merchant wasn't disappointed with her team's performance, only the outcome.
I didn't think we played bad. We scored 71 points. Our problem was we weren't scoring. Well, we scored. Now we just didn't defend here. We just got to continue to get better. We got to study the film. People got to get motivated.
Yeah, so the Spartans will return to the Breslin this Monday as they take on Indiana. That game will tip off at 7 p.m. Now let's head over to Jennison Fieldhouse, where the MSU wrestling team hosted a dual meet last Saturday with a morning match against Bloomberg University and then Northern Illinois in the afternoon. MSU shut out Bloomberg 41-0. That was their first shutout over a D1 school since 2007. Northern Illinois was a different story, though. The Spartans put up the pressure with wins from Cameron Caffrey, Chase Beard, and Jake Tucker. Spartans finished the day unbeaten with a win against the Huskies, 27-9. The Spartans will host Big Ten opponent Northwestern later tonight in Jennison Fieldhouse. The match starts at 7 p.m. That's what's happening in sports. I'm Griffin Stroyan. Ruda, Honda, back to you.
It's opening weekend for several new movies.
Tiara Riddick joins us now with what is hitting theaters.
It's cold outside, but warm inside. Say a movie theater, grab some popcorn, maybe some Mike and Ike's, and let's find out what's happening at the theaters with Focal Point's Lacey Hudson.
What Men Want stars Allie Davis, a hardworking sports agent who visits a psychic for help on how to maneuver in a corporate world full of men.
Oh, that's just Jasmine.
After drinking a mixture from the psychic, Allie's night out turns into a hospital visit when she falls and hits her head. She soon discovers that she can now hear men's thoughts. Allie then uses this power to her advantage to take the upper hand in her predominantly male work environment.
That's too much information.
Nurturing genius.
He's our little prodigy.
The Prodigy focuses on the life of a family whose adolescent son, Miles, is battling an unknown evil force. Sarah, Miles' mother, makes it her mission to get to the bottom of what is taking over her son and hopes to save him from the wicked power.
Mommy? What's wrong with me? Miles is having a very
That's your movie minute for Focal Point News. I'm Lacey Hudson.
When a family loses a loved one, it can be difficult to cope. It can be even more traumatizing for children and teens, but a program inside a healing center is here to help.
And here is our preschool room. You can see those little tiny chairs in there.
A safe place.
We really want to keep them talking and processing what their experiences have been.
For teenagers to heal during a time of loss.
Allie's groups are an 8-week grief support group that we provide in middle schools and in high schools.
A support group that Lori Forstad said reaches out to 40 different schools in the 30-mile radius of Lansing.
Middle schoolers and teenagers, and high schoolers, don't have that opportunity, and when they return to school, they get quiet very quickly.
It's as quiet and as quickly as this. For students to become unaware of their mental health and drown in unresolved emotions of loss.
And so what they do need is a safe place, somebody that they trust, that they can really process that experience.
Forstad called these daily encounters the highlight of her career.
As a social worker, I feel like I can be of a very real, concrete support to students.
But Ellie's Place isn't the only support system that they have.
We never want a child or a teenager or families for that matter to go through the grieving process alone.
A recent gift of $85,000 has kept the program in place.
This is a wonderful program to support because it does help build a vibrant community here in Lansing.
I would say that every group that I'm a part of, I come away learning something new about grieving and how that impacts.
Forstat tells me that after the 8-week program, students are likely to return to the classroom with a better performance and a brighter outlook.
That's all for this week's Focal Point News. I'm Rudolph Sinida.
And I'm Honda Carter. We leave you with the sounds of the Michigan State Wind Symphony.